Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. It's going to be a real short episode this week because I accidentally deleted all the video I made. So just a real quick summary of what you missed. You can't see, I'll show you a couple of things on the car and that'll be it. So where I'm at this week is I'm still working on the passenger side quarter panel, trying to get that scoop finished. I had family in town, so I wasn't able to come out in the evenings and move it along. And then I also laid up a couple of pieces that I wound up cutting out because I wasn't happy with how it looked or how I put it in. So I thought the passenger side would be easier than the driver's side. But I've kind of outsmarted myself a couple of times, I think, trying to do it better than I did it the first time. But also I'm trying to make it symmetrical to the driver's side, and so that makes it more difficult. When I was just free-forming the driver's side, it was easy to just free-form it to whatever I wanted it to be. Now that I'm on the passenger side, I keep having to go back and measure and look at and redo things on the passenger side to get them symmetrical to the driver's side. So it's taking a lot longer than I'd anticipated. I still don't have the scoop finished, although I'm really close at this point. And then on the driver's side, I'm working on the air box to feed air into the intercooler. I ordered an inline fan. It's a 4-inch inline fan that does 270 CFM to feed air into the intercooler. But I'm wondering if just natural ram air would be more than 270 CFM. And so I'm trying to figure out how I can measure that. I'm thinking about maybe getting a mass airflow sensor, see if I can find one of those cheap and just put it in a tube there and see what it reads. It doesn't have to be exact. I just need to know approximately how much air I'm getting and to see if it's worth installing the fan or just letting ram air feed it. So I'm working on the collector, the pod that will collect air from the scoop and funnel it down into a 4-inch tube. So I've tried modeling it. It's really hard to model. I'll point that out in a minute when we look at the part. I've tried styrofoam. And at this point, I think I'm just going to hand form it out of fiberglass because I'm getting impatient. I want progress. So, yeah, let's take a look at some of the things we've got here. Alright, so this is the driver's side quarter panel where I'm working on the box to collect air and funnel it down and feed it to the turbo. I had tried to 3D model it, but the problem was I couldn't get a measurement. There was a curve here and a curve here on the back edge and the front edge, which I'd measured, and there's a curve on the top edge and the bottom edge, which I had measured, and that's all in this plane and this plane. But what I missed was the curve on this plane, because that curves in and that one curves in, and so I've got all three planes have a curve, and I couldn't figure out how to measure them. My buddy Daniel, who's been here a couple of times, he helped me with the first start, the first drive. He has one of those machines that projects little dots all over it to help with photogrammetry, but we haven't had an opportunity to try that out yet. So I tried making some foam, but it was big, unwieldy pieces. So what I'm doing now is I haven't even tried to pop this off yet here, but I just laid fiberglass on here, and I'll pull that off, and that will give me something to work off of with either foam or cardboard or 3D print or whatever. Once I get this piece off and take it away from the rest of the quarter panel and I can isolate that flange, I think that'll make my life a lot easier. So that's where I wound up after a lot of stuff that I did and threw away. That's where I wound up at on the driver's side. On the passenger side, I finally have it all glassed in except for this little lip on the back, this piece right here. You can see that's still the cardboard. I haven't even pulled the cardboard off where I laid that glass up in there and let it cure overnight. So this top edge here has already been mostly sanded. One of the things that kicked my butt on the driver's side was trying to sand up in here because you keep bumping into the back wall and you can't get good motion. So before I glassed the back wall in, when I could go all the way through, I finished this piece out. And I finished these upper corners here. So hopefully my life will be a lot easier now. I'll just have to finish sand this wall right here, trim the bottom, and hopefully this will go a lot quicker. I had saved this piece of fiberglass right here that I wanted to use performing that inside back corner, because that's what kicked my butt last time. But I couldn't make it work, because for it to really work, you know, on the original scoop it was angled up, and now I'm angled down, and so it made this back edge here stick out a bunch, and so I wasn't able to use it. I thought it was a genius idea that was going to save me a bunch of work, and in the end it didn't save me any work because I couldn't use it. In fact, it probably cost me more work trying to set myself up to use it. So that's where I'm at this week. A lot of going in circles, a lot of doing stuff and throwing it away. So you know, probably not a lot to really see on video anyway. I mean, nobody wants to just watch a time lapse of me sanding fiberglass. So I'm going to try and get the videos here, now that we're in the bodywork stage. They actually will be less time lapses, and they'll just be more thoughts on what I'm doing, why I'm doing things. I'm sure that if one of my 5 viewers out there is a fiberglass person, they'll tell me all the things I could be doing better. The other problem I keep running into is sitting around waiting on fiberglass to cure. So yesterday was Saturday, and by 2 o'clock I was basically done. I couldn't do anything else because I had both pieces curing. So I went to the storage unit and picked up my tail so I can get started working on it as well. These are the factory 5 lights. I don't like them at all. So I really thought about replacing them with some Lotus style lights. There's a company called Greg's Racing Parts that makes really fantastic looking tail lights for Lotuses. They have almost a Ford GT look to them. They're kind of they got a big halo around the outside and an inset in the middle with a reverse or a fog in it that would look really great in here. So I could put them here and then glass this in. But I had already bought these Lincoln lights over here, and the more I think about it, the more I really think I want to use these. I've done some mock-ups and I think they look really good. They'll go right here. I'm actually going to install them upside down. In the Lincoln they install this way, but this has got this like slant here and slant here, which I think I'm going to keep, and so I can line these up to mirror that. So I'll take those lights that they're out, I'll cut that recess out, glass it back in smooth, and then make a fresh recess for these. They'll line up straight with the top. So this is going to be two-tone, so I'm going to come straight up this edge that's straight here at the top, and then down the whole inset there will be a contrast color like a graphite compared to the orange that's going, or the copper that's going on the rest of the car. So this top line here will be parallel to the two-tone line, and then this slant here will be parallel to this on both sides. I think it'll come out looking real good. So the other thing I'm starting to think about is a center mounted exhaust. I had ruled that out because with the 818s, the problem is if you have a center mounted exhaust, if you have the Roadster version, it tends to suck that exhaust back into the cabin and you get a real bad exhaust smell. But since I'm building a target top for mine, I won't have a true Roadster. I think I can get away with the center mounted exhaust, and I think it'll look a lot better. Now the transmission is right here, so I could either get here, or maybe both sides of the transmission might look fairly cool. So not too sure what I'm gonna do there yet, but it's something I've started to think about since I'm thinking about the aesthetics of the rear. So guys, that's it for this week. Sorry for deleting all the video content, but it wasn't very exciting anyway. It was mostly me fumbling around with foam and fiberglass. So try to get something that's useful or entertaining to look at for next week. I appreciate you guys hanging around. Have a great one.